Hey everyone, this is Jameson Russell, also known as Russell AR, here to talk to you about the brand new Speed Source Super 70. This is our 7-inch frame, primarily made for street league racing, but also can be used for filming, long range. It can take up to 9-inch props. So let's check it out real quick. It's going to give you a quick walkthrough and then we'll do a build for you. So this is going to be our bottom plate right here. Start with the smallest one. It's countersunk, so you can see which side is the top, or the bottom rather, or if you're going to use it as a top plate, I'll show you that in a minute. We can use it as a top plate too. This will be a top. On top of that, we have our mid plate. You can see these holes are countersunk in here, so you can use a press nut right here. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. And then we have our battery plate, and these are countersunk at 45-degree angles, so you can have all your screws flat and then have your battery sit right on it. Next, we have our 16mm thick arms. Check out these bad boys. They're huge. They're very strong, and they're only 6mm wide across the prop line here. So the prop is going to push air right down here, nice and clean. It's going to get a lot of thrust, and again, great for street league racing. Also great for long range or filming, whatever you want to do with it. We have a couple different options over here. I'll show you all the configurations we have currently. We're going to be working on more as we go, but a standard configuration with the calling it the battery CG canopy. Then we have a couple of different bottom options, a different canopy if you want to run the battery on the bottom, so underslung canopy. And then we have some hardware over here. We are going to have M3 by 20 screws right here. These are for the motors. You'll get 16 of these, so you can run them up through. Perfect for whatever motor you're running. They're 19 by 19mm diameter, or 19mm diameter for those. A lot of us are running 2808 motors in street league right now, but anything with 19mm mounting pattern, you'll be able to run on these arms. And then we also have the standoff right here. This will come if you get this canopy. So essentially it goes right in here. You slot it in to the slot right there, just like that, and then you're gonna have to pull it down. So what I do is I take you can take one of these really long screws, go in here. You're gonna have to use 2 plates to put in between it, and then just thread it through that hole there, and then just drive it down. It's gonna pull this standoff all the way through into here, and it's gonna lock in there, so you don't have to worry about it in the future. It's gonna lock it right on the frame. I'll show you that as well. And next, we have a few other hardware options here, but those are all included, other than that little plastic nylon standoff if you need it for this canopy right here. So let's get started on the build. First thing you're going to do, you're going to take this mid plate right here with the countersunk holes for the press nut, not the 45-degree countersunk, but the countersunk is maybe kind of milled in there. Might be a better term, but anyways, you're going to take that. You're going to take your press nut. You'll get 12 of these press nuts right here. You put it right into here, and it will sit in there pretty well, but we are going to have to push it in there. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. First way, you can take a screw, take one of these M4 screws, run it up in there, and then just use your driver and just twist it, or if you have an electric driver, pull it in there. Probably have something with some torque. I know a lot of those smaller drivers aren't very powerful, but put it in there. It's going to set it right in there. A little bit easier way to do it is use a vise. For my favorite way to do it is just use a hammer. So put it on the table just like that, or put it on the ground, pop it right in there. It'll sit right in there, and then sure enough, they'll come out looking just like that. You got 12 of them in there. Makes it, it's a little bit more work at first, but it makes it so much easier. You're going to replace arms. You don't have to worry about fumbling with nuts or anything. It locks it in there, and then after that, you can take one of your arms and take your battery plate, and we're going to put these in here. So we do have 12 screws. This is probably a little overkill, but I don't like worrying about having to tighten arms up or whatnot. So you're going to have a lot less time worrying about loose arms, or don't have to worry about breaking arms as much. These are really thick, really strong. And you're going to have 2 screws that go in here, 2 different size screws. So the first one is going to be the M3, or M4, I apologize. Everything on here is M4 other than these front holes for canopy mounting and whatnot. But M4 by 30 screws. You can tell the difference between these and the other screw, which is going to be an M4 by 25, because the M4 by 30 is threaded, and it's obviously longer, but the easiest way, M4 by 30 is half threaded. So you can tell this one's M4 by 30 because it's half threaded. It's also longer, but we're going to take that one and probably only want to do 1 screw at a time now, especially if you're doing street league, because what we want to do is be able to easily take this apart, because then we want to go back and put our weight in. And I'll show you that in 1 minute. So first thing, put a screw in here. We're going to use these 4 holes for the M4 by 30 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the 4 center holes right here are M4. These are for mounting your stack. If you want to mount your stack in here, you don't have to. It's just an option. But we're going to go through. We're going to thread that through the arm. And it might be a little hard at first. We keep this balance just pretty tight because that allows it to stay nice and snug. So just take it, drive it through. Try not to stab yourself. And right here, it's also going into this press nut, so that should be nice and easy. And we're just going to go ahead and drive that through. So I can get it lined up. There we go. So it doesn't have to be tight right now, just nice and snug is probably fine. And then it will, will hold against the other arm. So when you're putting your motors on, putting your electronics, it'll be nice and easy. There we go. And there again, you can put the other screws in. You don't have to, but it's just going to make it a lot easier. Because what I like to do is put the weight right in the center section right here, and that allows all the weight to be as centralized as possible. You can fit a lot of tire weights in here. You can fit plenty of tungsten in here to meet weight, but at the same time, if you want to, you can mount your electronics in here. It's about 16 millimeters, so you can probably put ESC, FC in there. At the minimum, I like to put my ESC in here sometimes just because it leaves a lot less room on the bottom. And then it still allows you to put some weight in there. So we're going to keep going here. I'm going to put the rest of these arms here and jump back with you guys in a minute. Alright, so you've went ahead and got all 4 screws in here right in the center. I actually went ahead and put one of the 25 millimeter screws in here too. Just wanted to show you something real quick. So once you put these in here, this is optional, but these do come with M4 nuts. So you have 12 of these. You can put them on every single one. So what that does is you put that right on there. Again, you don't have to, but you can put some thread locker on, put this nut on, and after that you can take a socket, you can drive it in there real hard. It should not come loose, or it should take a while before it comes loose, let's put it that way. I know with 5-inch racing, probably tighten screws at least every race, if not every couple of heats sometime when it comes down to the wire. But put it on there, you won't have to worry about it. You can also take this nut right here, put it on here, and that's going to be our next step. So this is of course optional. I don't run the nuts on here myself, but it comes with enough so you can put it on there. And what that's going to do is going to raise your standoff up, because we're going to take our M4 by 20 millimeters, our custom 70-75 standoff, so super strong. Put that right on here. I'm going to put it on this side first because that's going to be the standard. I'll give you 20 millimeters of stack room. On the other hand, if you need extra room, you can have an extra 3 millimeters right here. Just put this on here. Or if you need more room, you can put a little bit bigger nut on there. I know the aluminum nylock nuts are about 5 millimeters, so I add another 5 millimeters. You have a standard 25 millimeter stack in there. So put that on there. It's going to raise it up 3 millimeters. You have extra room for your stack. I'm going to go ahead and take that nut off so I can show you the rest of the build here and show you some of the different configurations we have. Okay, so I went ahead and put all 4 standoffs on just like that. And just want to show you one more thing here. Obviously, I put the weight in here. You can put it other places. You can put it down on the bottom plate or put it under the battery if you're going to run underslung battery. There's not really room if you use the canopy that goes around the battery, but put that in here. You can put your stack in here. You can mount it under the battery plate. You can mount it on the mid plate, top or bottom. I mount it on the bottom side, so it goes between these stacks, these standoffs. I apologize. And then sometimes I like to mount the ESC inside here, and then you can still put some lead, put the ESC in here. Then you can keep this as shallow as possible. You can also mount it on your bottom plate or your top plate. So put that on here. This goes right on here. I'm not going to put the screws in right now, but you get these M4. These are aluminum right now. I might switch to steel because they strip out wool easy. They're not too bad. I mean, as long as you, let me switch drivers real quick to show you. But as long as you put it in there nice and tight, make sure it's not wiggling, and push down on it hard when you're screwing in there. It should not strip out. But essentially, this is going to be one configuration right here. So we're going to show this as the top of the drone right now. This is this is the top. The battery is going to go down here, and so you can just take we have a standard camera mount option. Just put it on here, just like that, nice and easy. It should slide on there really smooth, and you put your top plate on just like that. And you essentially have a standard drone right now with an underslung battery. Or we do have a canopy option. This is a work in progress, but this is actually turning out pretty cool. This goes on, slots onto the standoffs right here, and then you can hold it on with the screws. If I can get it on here, there we go. Yep, slots on pretty. I'm not going to push it all the way down right now, but slots on there, and then that will sit right on there. It probably only want to use a 20 by 20 millimeter stack with this right now, so you can probably use a 30 by 30 ESC, but it's going to be a little tight in there. 20 by 20 should fit well, and you should be able to put a 3-level stack on there. It might be a little tight in the top, need to strengthen it up too. That's why I printed this out of nylon. It's nice and strong. Should not damage anywhere. If we're going to use TPU, we're going to want to add some strength in there. So we'll work on that, add some strength for you guys if you want to use TPU on this, but this is one option. And again, this is still pretty aerodynamic. It's pretty minimal, and you have your battery right on the bottom there, have your lead in the middle, and you're good to go. You might have to add a little extra light because this one's a little bit lighter than the standard configuration, we'll call it. So we'll go into the standard configuration next. We have a few bottom options for you. I'm not going to show you all of them because we're going to save some time right there. You can put this one on there. It slides around the standoffs. This adds a little arrow. You can see it's got a little bit of lift coming through here. So what that does is, you know, it adds lift to the drone, counteracts the gravity, adds a little bit more thrust in theory, to a little more forward thrust in theory. So we're going to play with that, see what we can do to, you know, get a little bit more speed out of these drones. And then the next one is the same thing, but this goes all the way on. I will throw this one on for you nice and easy right here. This goes around the standoffs. Adds the same amount of lift, but adds a little extra protection right here. So this is going to protect your stack in here. Top plate slides right on here, same with the other one, and then you can put the rest on. The last one I'll show you is also an experiment. Let me pull this off real quick. There we go. So not too hard, should slide right on and right off. And then this is an experiment right here. So this adds, you know, a little extra arrow. I know we don't think about the arrow off the bottom of the quad too much, but that's almost maybe equally or maybe more important. We don't know a lot about this yet, but essentially this is working on the arrow on the bottom of the quad. So same thing, put your stack on, slide this bad boy right in here, right on the standoffs. Slots in just like that. Not too difficult. This one's a little lighter. Don't need to add a lot of weight on the bottom. It's just for arrow. It does have protection on here, but it does have the standoffs around the stack. So if you do hit anything, you're going to get a lot of protection from the standoffs with this. And then we'll take the next piece, which is the front arrow blocker, I like to call it. This will come standard with the canopy. The bottom pieces will not. They'll be something you can print off, or we'll have them for sale on the website. Not too expensive, probably a couple dollars, but we'll have them on there just so you can have the option deciding what you want to put on your quad. So this one goes right in here. This is going to be the front, whatever side you have the front set up as. Put this on the front, and this thing is really cool. So it's got 3 pieces to it. Essentially, it's got the arrow piece, so it's going to add one more arrow element in there. It's kind of hard to tell on here, but adds a little lift. There we go, just like that. I couldn't get it at the right angle, but anyways, adds a little lift right here. It adds protection because your camera wire is going to come up through here if you're going to run the canopy on top, right through this little slot. And there's actually a slot in here too. I might make that a little smaller, but you can see the slot goes through here, and then the last piece, check out this little slot right here. I'll show you how this works in a minute, but you put an LED in there. I just use tape light, cut off one LED, put it up there. You have a front-facing LED to meet Street League spec. So put that on there. The last piece is, you can see, got those, this is how it should look once the pieces are in. They should go all the way down. You should not be able to, maybe see like a millimeter and a half of those standoffs, but you can see I drove them all the way down in there. If you have any questions, ask me. It's pretty simple once you figure it out, but drove them in there. Gonna put that on here, and then we're gonna take our M3 by 30 millimeter screws. We're gonna run them up here, and this is how you hold on all the accessories I just showed you. Essentially, you can use M3 by 30 to hold them on, or if you're not running this, you probably don't need M3 by 30. You can use like a 6mm, 8mm screw and just put a nut on here. However you guys want to do it. It's very open. There's a lot of options, a lot of configurations. We're going to see a lot more before the season ends here and then in the next year. So let me get this thing started on here. Probably feel a little pressure to push it down. There we go. So got that through. We're going to push that right up through there. And then you're going to start to see it come through here. There you go. Didn't have it straight on there, but essentially comes up through here, line it up with the hole on the bottom. Run it through nice and tight. You're going to do that with both of them. So it puts it on there, it holds it nice and tight, And then you put your battery strap up through the bottom, and here there's a little slot inside of here. Run your battery strap through there. You can run it either under here. I like to put the lead on this side and then run it under the lead, or you can run it under the stack, or if you have a big one, you can run it all the way around. Wherever you want to do. It holds the battery down, holds the canopy in there, and this canopy gives a ton of protection to the battery right there. So next step right here is the full drone. So check this out. This is a full, this is actually a prototype, so it's a little different, but fully built. This thing is amazing. Check it out. So you have your 16mm thick arms. I'm sponsored by JamFan personally, so I put JamFan on here, but check it out. We also have Speed Source on this side, so I'll give you a Speed Source sticker. You can rep it if you want. If not, no worries. I'm not going to be mad, but put whatever you want on here. You can put your name on here, your sponsors. There's a lot of room to show off, and that's what's a really cool thing about this frame. A lot of room to show off sponsors or whatnot. Maybe you can put, if you're a racer, put a number on there or whatnot, you know. But whatever you want to do, put that on here. On top of that, one other thing I want to show you is the antenna mount. So this is the only antenna mount we have right now. We'll get some more. And you know, this is pretty simple. Just you can put any kind of screw in here. I just put a screw. I don't know if you can see it, but sorry, I have some bad lighting. We're in a temporary place here, but get some better lighting, show that to you guys, get some pictures. You just put a screw in there, put the nut on there, holds right in there. You don't have to worry about weight with Street League, so I just run these Axie 2 antennas. They're nice and easy. Slide them on, slide them off. You can switch polarization, or if you break one, it's really easy to change out. And then last thing I'll show you all here is the well, second to last thing I'll show you all here. This is the battery strap. You can see going up into the frame. I have it under. I tape all the weight inside there, so it keeps it nice and snug. Put the battery strap under it, and then run it through, and it's good to go. It keeps it in there. It does not. It's really hard to come loose, and again, it adds a lot of protection. Last thing I want to show you. This is how I mount my XT60. I'll probably do a full build video in the future if you guys are interested. But essentially, for the XT60, kind of, I don't pull it out. I put it right here, so it goes about to the end of the mid plate. And then when you go to plug this in, it's gonna get really bright for a second. It leaves it nice and tight, so you don't have a lot of excess cable sticking out, and you don't have to worry about props getting into it, and that way it's more aerodynamic too. Not sure how much of a difference it makes, but you know, we're looking for, you know, 0.5% and 1% if we can get it, and every little difference counts here at Street League. So that's gonna keep it nice and tight. Very last thing here, I almost forgot about this. This is the LED. You just have that sitting up in that little front arrow blocker right there, and you know, again, just put a little piece of tape light. So now I got LEDs in the front, LEDs in the back, and we're good to go. Awesome. Hey, well, thank you so much for taking a second to watch today. Let me know if you guys have any questions. This is the Super 70 Speed Source frame, and we'll also have the Super 50 coming out soon. That's in prototype testing. It's a 5-inch frame. These are going to be insane frames to start off the year, and we'll have more to come. Thanks a lot. Catch you guys later.